Hi, pup. Juice, how you doing? Huh? Good girl. How you doing? Good girl. Good job. We're gonna go out today and hang a few trail cameras on some small properties. One of them is a property that we turkey hunted and we saw some good trails. Just gonna hang a trail camera, see if anything's crossing there. A couple other properties. I guess another one is one we turkey hunted, so we're gonna see what's going on there, see if we can't do some velvet scouting. And one's a completely new property, just gonna try to scout it. But all of them are really small public land properties. We're gonna talk about our trail camera setups on there and our strategies for hunting small properties. We've made it to our first property. Just gonna try to hang some trail cameras. We know what this property looks like because we were in here doing some turkey hunting, and actually there's a good number of turkeys in here, but they're all on private. But we've been through here, we kind of know what it looks like, and the spot that we're gonna go to is along the fence line, and I can show you kind of what we're looking with here. Down there is where we were turkey hunting all the time, and then that fence line kind of runs where you can see the trees there. There's a big chunk of woods that's back over here down in that stuff, but it's not very good. Pretty open. Deer really, I don't think, are going to be in there, and that's where the other people are going to be, so we're not going to go there. Even in these woods that are right down here, there's a guy with a trail camera, so someone had been sneaking around down in there for that stuff. We'll get out, we'll walk down there and see if we can't find a good trail to put this on. Talk about our strategy for this small property, this small piece of public. Made it down in here to this little corner where we've been turkey hunting, and this little patch of woods back in here isn't very big. It's probably, I don't know, probably right at an acre maybe, but there's already a good sized bed right there. So just a matter of figuring out, one, the hunting pressure. Somebody's probably in here, but the deer are moving through here. They're obviously bedding in here. Early season, you might be able to get on something before hunting pressure moves in. I found a shed right down in here when we were turkey hunting too of a nice buck. So we'll keep going, but seeing beds, seeing lots of tracks on the road back here. It just rained, so fresh tracks. It's a good sign. It's a pretty big bed too. Talk a little bit about what we're dealing with here and what our strategy is on this property. So from what we found and what we know, this property, one, is not very big. I'll put on the screen how many acres it is so you guys know, but it's a small property and it's not all covered in woods. Only about a fourth of it is covered in woods. Those woods obviously are going to get hunted. Only takes one or two guys to hunt it, push the deer out of there, have too many people in it. But when we were turkey hunting, we got in here early spring just to see if there was turkeys here, but we were walking this fence line here and we saw a couple good trails of deer crossing those, and I think even when Chance was turkey hunting, he saw deer taking those trails, and there's trees along that fence line. So that fence line is going to be where we're going to set up, and I think maybe how the deer are getting around all the people. But all this stuff around us, all the property around the public, is obviously privately owned, but it's leased for an outfitter. So you got to know, if it's leased for an outfitter, they're not running a whole lot of cattle on there, they're using it for deer. I guess our strategy and our thinking is they're getting around the hunters on the rest of this property by using this fence line and kind of cutting the corners a little bit. So I'm going to walk this fence line, look for some trails. I think the best spot's up here a little bit farther in the corner, and I'll show you a little bit more of that. Been walking this fence line behind me, found a lot of beds in that row of trees you can kind of see back there. A lot of beds in there, and then just on the edge and all of this, you know, CRP type grass. But found a nice bed right here. You can tell it's been used quite a bit, all sides of the tree, but there's a slight rise right here that you can kind of see, kind of comes up right here just a little bit, and that deer can sit right here in this bed and then see all this stuff out here in front of him. It ain't much. It's a teeny tiny fence row, and we'll show you the aerial view of it, but it ain't much, but there's quite a few beds in here, and probably gonna be a pretty good spot. Got the trail cam, so we'll hang it up. I'm gonna go check out this stuff down here because that's where the best crossing was. Probably hang the trail cam there, but lots of beds through here, lots of deer sign. That's good. This is where I'm gonna hang that trail camera. You can see the trail better when we were here turkey hunting and in the fall with all this new growth, but you can follow it kind of, and it leads from right through here, which that's the private land back there, through that draw, leads through here, goes this way, and then cuts right through that corner, right off the edge of those trees right there, and then up over that is where that alfalfa field is. But if I step out here, you can kind of see why a buck might be using this back corner to get around people. Obviously, from here, the big woods where everybody's hunting is right up over that. Somebody in there, it goes down so far over that hill, hunter in there is not going to see a buck crossing right here and be able to move and adjust. And two, a buck can cross right here on the corner of this property, just cut this corner, go up to that food, and not have to deal with hunters being there. He knows no one's here in this corner, but if you look for that trail and look for that sign, you can see that there might be deer crossing right here. We have no idea if they're going to be bucks crossing here, does, or if it's even worthwhile sitting here, but that's what the trail cam's for. Gonna leave it up, let it do some work. I think I'm gonna hang the trail cam here to start with, and then come back, check it when I hang some stands somewhere else maybe, and then move it over there if that spot didn't work. But we really have no idea. We're seeing this trail, seeing this sign, some of the things add up to why a buck might be crossing right here, the connectedness of it all, staying away from other hunters. So we're gonna hang this camera, let the camera do the work for us, and see if we need to hunt here. But it could be kind of a little bit of a hidden spot, may even be more of a November spot. Might leave the camera up most of the year and just see what it captures throughout the year. But we've got stand locations over there, and we've got stand locations right in here where we can set up right on this trail and shoot a buck if they happen to be coming through here. But you can kind of tell on this property behind me here, you can see you got draws in there, all those oak trees back in there. Perfect just kind of travel for deer coming out of there to get some food back over here. So hang this trail camera up and keep looking around. Got the trail camera up here behind me, put it up high, hopefully keep people from stealing it, and locked it up. So that's one trail cam up. I'm gonna walk back out of here, and we're gonna head to a new property. I think I'm gonna scout a new property first to see what it looks like, and then we'll go hang another trail camera. But this trail camera is up. Don't really know what to expect for this property. Probably leave it up for a while and come back in 3 weeks or something just to make sure it's taking pictures, and if there's nothing here on there, no does, no bucks, no nothing, then we might take it down and move it. So the hunting strategy's really not too difficult. We got it coming out of woodlots back here behind us, coming up a draw, going to food. We're gonna let the camera do the work. If we see bucks on camera, we know right where to go to start the season. So gonna head out of here and check out a couple more properties. We had a change of plans. I tried to get to that new property to scout it, and it is surrounded by about 2 miles of minimum maintenance roads on all sides, and it just rained. So just kind of abandoned that part of the plan for today and drove up here to this other property where we're gonna hang another trail camera. This is the spot we were sitting when those turkeys were still roosting in the tree out in front of us here, and then the toms came and crossed the road right back here. This is where we were hunting. It's another one of those small properties, like not woods at all. It's all CRP except for this little back corner. We've got quite a long walk back through there. I'm really not excited about walking through the 6-foot tall CRP this time of year, but we'll make our walk back in there, hang the trail camera, and see what we don't see for deer sign. And then I'll talk a little bit more kind of about why we think deer might be at this property, and then some of our trail camera setups for these small properties. So that out there in front of me is what we're dealing with on this property. It's just this little chunk of woods right here that we can hunt. We've got pretty good, decent chunk of woods back here that might be holding deer. Can't hunt it, but you got that travel in between. You got a wheat field you can see there, alfalfa right there, and corn right there. So pretty diverse as far as food sources go. Our one place to hunt, like I mentioned, is right here. So that's where we're gonna go. That's where we're gonna look. That's where we're gonna hang the trail camera. So that's kind of what we're dealing with from an outside perspective. We'll dive in there, look for some sign, find a place to hang that trail camera. Got in here, kind of got around the corner. I'm in here in these willows. You can see, and the willows are always a good place to find deer bedding. I just like the willows, lots of cover, lots of overhead cover. But I bumped the fawn up from right back here. But you can see just a bunch of old rubs on like every single one of these trees. You can see them back there on the big tree. Have some right here, some right there, a bunch over there. So pretty much every one of these little willow trees in here has got a rub on it. So at one point it was a good bedding area. Seems like most of the sign's a little old, but there's deer beds back there that I've seen, and I just jumped that fawn up from right here. So there's deer moving in and out of here, deer bedding in here. Just gotta see if we can't find a place for the trail camera and see if there's bucks in here. I jumped back into the woods here, get out of the wind so that you could hear me, and the GoPro wasn't full of wind noise. But there's a little bedding area right here. You can see a little bit of a bed right there, and then there's some more good bedding areas back there. But I put the trail camera up right out here, right on the edge of this habitat transition. So while there's not much of a habitat transition, there's still, you know, hardwoods to CRP grass transition. That's where I set up the camera. I think they'll be walking that edge, especially if they're bedding back up in there, like I saw that, where I saw that fawn at. There's a lot of beds back in here for as small as a little chunk of woods as this is. The thing that we're trying to figure out is if it's does in here or if there's bucks coming through here. And that's the thing for these small properties and our trail camera setups. They're in here to do the work for us because they're risky spots. They're small properties, not a lot of woods, maybe not a lot of deer moving through. So we're letting those trail cameras do the work for us, putting them close to bedding, places where we know deer are crossing and maybe getting away from other hunting pressure. In the case of this property, it's really the only woods here. It's by a bunch of food sources. We got alfalfa. That wheat's probably going to be picked, but something else might be planted in there. We got corn back over this way. So very diverse for its food sources. So we're either putting them up near food sources like this so we can catch them and see what deer are coming in and out of the area if there's bucks there, or we're putting them on trails that are getting away from hunting pressure on small properties. So that's what we're looking for, either those little hidden spots like this back in the corner or places away from hunting pressure on those small properties, and letting those trail cameras do the work for us. We'll leave them up, check them right before the season or when we go in and hunt, and they'll tell us if we need to go back or if we need to hunt there. These small properties are always high risk, high reward because they're small. There's either a lot of hunting pressure on them if you're hunting public land, or there's just not a lot of deer moving through. So you got to pick the spots and be precise with where you're putting your trail cameras and your stands when you're hunting. That's why on small properties a lot of times we do like to use these trail cameras. We'll let them run and they'll tell us if there's spots on that property we can go. And when you're looking at small properties, look for those little hidden areas. We're on a place that's mostly CRP. I don't expect any deer hunters to be here. There's going to be pheasant hunters and bird hunters here, but not deer hunters. And that's why we're here. We're going to check this spot out and see if it's worthwhile. That trail camera is going to do that for us. That's kind of our strategy, using trail cameras on small properties and hunting small properties, really. So thanks for watching, guys. As always, hit the like button and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching.